Opeyemi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So overall, we know that this is driven by the insecurity in the country, and just to try and check how the mobile device can be used to drive that forward. But overall, you are not too worried in the near term, but can you just talk us through your expectations on how this could impact earnings moving forward?
I mean, in the near term, we're just seeing, that SIM card limit come through three SIM cards per user. So in discussions with telco players, they feel that once you go above your second or even your third SIM, that revenues and activities start to decline from then on. So you can use yourself as an example. Imagine if you had 4 phones. There's no way you're going to use 4 phones all at the same level as an individual. So in the near term, earnings might not see any significant impact. But then when you look further into the long term, right, you have things like mobile money, right, which the government is really focusing on, financial inclusion. They have a 90% target for 2024, which is very ambitious. Right. And then you have, a situation where you have to get your NIN registered before you can get a SIM. And the NIN is very problematic as it is. There are reports of significant challenges around getting your NIN. About only 20% of the Nigerian population have their NINs at this point in time. 20% of that's about 20% of active GSM lines at the moment. So if you're then looking at, technology adoption going forward, you're looking at things like your mobile Wi-Fi devices, your tablets, other, tech devices, vehicle tracking, for example. So imagine if you had maybe about 5 or 6 of these devices, what then happens to your SIM card limits? Because all of these devices use SIM cards. Right. So where you have to cut down on the amount of devices that you have, all of this affects, SIM usage and.
Right. No, a very interesting point, and obviously something for the policymakers to think through there in terms of how we can use technology to simply make our lives easier in this country. But can we just speak now to earnings, though, and sure, more specifically to what you're expecting as the full year earnings season, as we move further into that? Clearly, we're still waiting for numbers from the big telcos, but overall, what are your expectations in terms of what you saw over the last quarter?
Yes, so for Airtel Africa and MTN, which are the listed companies on our exchange, have different financial year endings. So MTN has the traditional December year end, while Airtel's is March. So Airtel has reported 9 months earnings, which have been quite positive when you look at the operational trends. So we've seen revenue grow about 20-25%. We're seeing EBITDA margin now about 45.1%. Nigeria and East Africa performing very well. Rest of Africa, which was performing poorly before, has now recovered significantly as well. In Nigeria, we're seeing data grow as fast as 74% on a year-on-year basis. Airtel is quite aggressive. They're the market leaders in Nigeria when it comes to 4G adoption. So MTN is pretty much playing catch up at this point. So for MTN as well, we're seeing at the 9 months they already have double digits revenue expansion and at the bottom line as well. So all in all, very positive for the telco space.
A lot has been made of how data is like the next growth phase for these businesses, but given the, should I say, economic challenges, are you still bullish about that? Do you still think that is the future in terms of revenue growth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Data is definitely the future of revenue growth. I mean, all of our usage from voice, or a significant portion of it, is moving towards data now. So rather than making a call, it's cheaper for you to have your data and then use a service like WhatsApp, for example, to make a call.
Okay, but fair point. So if data is the future, so to speak, because of adoption, do you see voice revenues declining then?
Yes. So we see voice revenues
declining. Would you say that the pickup in data revenue
will offset, will offset that decline in voice revenue. So we're seeing that average revenue per user on data is a lot more than that's from voice. So definitely that data growth will offset the decline in volumes. We're also very bullish on mobile money. Airtel has estimated that this is about $889 million per year industry. So the PSB approval has not been given to MTN and Airtel yet. Right. We're not clear on when that's happening. We thought it was going to happen in Q1 of this year, but during the conference call, they were not too clear on timelines. So we can't be too specific on when that's going to come in.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the insight. Clearly, we're looking forward to those full-year numbers. I've been speaking to Opeyemi Ani, an equity research analyst at Cordros Securities.